hesitate to run up on your boy. 엉덩이 빵빵빵 남자들은 탐탐탐 내 입술 냠냠냠 어디 가도 당당당 등장은 짠짠짠 뛰자 팡팡팡.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is D1BA1113C and my metric number is 2021109325. Today I gonna present about our group assignment, which is preferring a normal class or a virtual class is better. So before we start, let me introduce our group members are Nur Nasuha, Nur Syairat Yana, and Muhammad Amshad. We are from group BA1113C. Without further ado, let's start with introduction first. The COVID-19 epidemic has now become a worldwide health problem with significant educational implications. The main purpose of this survey is to identify whether students prefer a normal class or a virtual class as a learning platform. We aim to evaluate how students with ITM talk about distance learning in comparison to classroom learning. We aim to evaluate how students with ITM talk about distance learning in comparison to classroom learning. Students were provided with an online questionnaire to complete, and a total of 93 students from UITM responded. We chose this topic for our survey because several students had no prior knowledge about online education and eager to adapt rapidly to the COVID-19 pandemic and expect transition to online instruction. At the end of our research, we may deduct whether those students prefer normal classes over virtual classes by this survey. To reach our objective, we took 2 weeks for the student to answer our online questionnaire. To reach our objective, we took 2 weeks for the student to answer our online questionnaire, and the method we use is the Google form. By using the information of this Google form, it's become easier for us to simplify and analyze the data collection to proceed with our research. There are some objectives in this survey. Here are the following objectives that we are looking forward to. Firstly, to measure how much time students spend on the internet on a daily basis. Secondly, to learn about the expense of attending college. Third, to know how much teaching in the classroom can help you understand very well. Fourth, to know how most of the students get to the class. Fifth, to gather the opinion of students regarding the effectiveness of face-to-face classes. Sixth, to find out what is the best platform to use during the online classes. 7, to analyze how many students face internet connection problems. 8, to determine how long usually students study in a day when classes are held virtually. 10, to understand further the student actual feeling toward the classes.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Nasuha binti Abdullah. My student ID is 2021109221 and I am from BA1113C. And now my turn to present about this report. So, let's talk about description of data. Firstly, population is a complete group of members from which the data will be collected. It may refer to an entire group of people, object, measurement, and many more. A population may be said to be aggregate observation of subject grouped together with a common element. The population we wish to study is all students in UITM Macau. Secondly, sample is a portion from population. A sample refers to a smaller version of a bigger group or subset of a larger population. The sample of our study is 80 students in UITM Macau that are studied were randomly selected as respondents for the case study. And lastly, sampling technique is the sampling process that can be done by selecting a sample that can represent the population as accurately as possible. there are two types of sampling technique, which is the probability sampling technique and non-probability sampling technique. In this research, we use simple random sampling technique. The population is homogeneous in nature, which is from UiTM student.
3.0 Data Collection Method. Data collection is defined as the procedure of collecting, measuring, and analyzing accurate insights for research using standard validated techniques. There are four methods used to collect data for statistic analysis, which are interview, direct observation, questionnaire, and internet or video recording. The data collection method used in this survey is questionnaire. The questionnaire is an online form generated using Google Forms and was distributed among students in WhatsApp groups. There are 10 questions we made. We choose this technique because the respondents have enough time to think properly before answering every question. These are the following questionnaires that needs to be answered. Number 1, how much time do you spend on social media per day? Number 2, how much cost that you spend for study and college are incurred each month? Number 3, do you think the class teachings will be helpful for you to understand very well? Number 4, how do you usually get to the class? Number 5, do you agree that face-to-face class is way better than a virtual class? And number 6, what apps do students prefer for virtual class? Number 7, how good is your internet connection from where you are right now? Number 8, how long do you usually study in a day when learning through virtual class? Number 9, what will you do when you do not understand the topics in virtual class? And lastly, number 10, why did some students not respond to their lecturer during the lectures?
Qualitative data. Firstly, figure 3. Data show that most of the students say the classroom learning helpful to understand very well. When they have a normal class, it's become easier to them understand very well while lecturer teach about the topic. Furthermore, some research indicate that virtual learning has a lower impact than face-to-face learning. Next, figure 4. Data show that most of students choose to walk to go to the class. Physical activity, including walking, can be a very healthy and sustainable mode of transportation for a student to go to the class if they stay at the campus. Besides, a car and motorcycle show they are 18 respondents respectively. It is because students do like to go out to the place during the weekend, so that maybe they need a car or motorcycle instead of walking. Lastly, figure 5, data show that most of the students are agree with the face-to-face class. This type of learning is generally less flexible than virtual class. The biggest opportunity that face-to-face class presents is both student and lecturer have the ability to see, hear, and pick up on physical cues and body language. Besides, lecturer also can lead and control the focus of the discussion. So that's all for me. Let's proceed to the next presenter. Thank you.
So now we go through to the next part, which is data analysis and result. Figure 6. Based on the bar chart above, it can be seen that most of the students like to use Google Meet, which is 53 students like to use these apps. It is because Google Meet is easy to use and to communicate with each other compared to WhatsApp, Telegram, and another application. Figure 7. The data shows that the internet connection that students use is good. However, there are some students also that have a different perspective when it comes to internet connectivity. With this information, internet connection is both an issue and the challenge, not only for the students but also for lecturers. To conclude, that internet connectivity will pose a big challenge among students for their online learning. Figure 9. Based on the bar chart above, most of the students choose to ask friends when they do not understand the topic. It is because students are more comfortable to be asking a friend compared to straight away and ask the lecturer. just 26 students choose to ask the lecturer. Maybe they shy. Other than that, 12 students try to understand by your own, which is they did not ask anyone. And the last one is 6 students choose to wait until everyone has left the meet so that they can ask the lecturer directly. Figure 10. Based on the horizontal chart above, data shows that most of the students are shy to respond what lecturer asks, and it also because of internet connection. Besides that, students not respond because they did not know the answer of the question and did not understand the topic. Sometimes it also have a student who did not interested in the topic, but maybe just because a personal problem. So let's move to the next presenter.
Liana, and I will take over for this part, which is quantitative data. Okay, so without further ado, I will proceed with our first question, which is how much time do you spend on social media per day? Okay, so basically before you draw any chart, of course you need a table. So in the table, it contains a table time span, class boundary, class interval, and also class midpoint. Right after you've done all those things in your table, okay, then you can start on drawing a chart. Okay, so for the chart, I chose to do a histogram. So right after you're done with your chart, of course, we want to start on measuring. Okay, so for the first one, we want to measure a mean. For the formula is fx divided by the number of students, which is 14, which is our fx is 14 plus 175 plus 272 plus 187. We'll divide with 7 plus 35 plus 34 plus 17, and you will get 6.9677. Right after we collect all of the data, we can start on measuring the median. Okay, so basically, the median is low limit plus total frequency divided by 2 minus cumulative frequency divided with frequency of the median class and times with median class, which is 6.5 plus 46.5 minus 42 over 34 in bracket times 3, and you will get 6.897 per median. Then we want to measure a mode. Okay, how can we measure mode? Okay, first of all, you need to collect the data as well. Okay, so for the first one, we got there is lower class boundary of middle class, model class, which is 0.5. And then for the model class frequency minus frequency for the class before the model, we got 28. And then for the model class frequency minus frequency for the class after the model, we got 1. And then for the median class, we got 3. So basically for the median class, same as before. Okay, so for the formula, for the mode formula is lower class boundary of the model class plus model class frequency minus frequency for the class before the model divide with model class frequency minus frequency for the class before the model minus model class frequency minus after before the model, and then times with median class, which is you can solve it with 0.5 plus 28 divided by 1 times 3, and you will get 84.5. Okay, so basically most of students spend most of their time on social media, 84.5 hours per day. Right now, we will measure dispersion. Okay, so first of all, of course, you need a table which contain a time span, number of student f, class midpoint x, fx, and fx squared. Okay, so you need to find the standard deviation. Okay, so for standard deviation, you need to do a square root, which inside it got 1 over 93 minus 1, and then in bracket 5136 minus 648 square over 93. Okay, you will get 2.59787. Okay, so for the variance is 2.59787 square, and you will get variance is 6.7489. So yeah, let's continue with the next question.
Question: how much cost that you spend for study and college incurred in a month? The answer were 32 students voted for 100 to 100 ringgit, 25 students voted 101 to 200 ringgit, 22 students voted 201 to 300 ringgit, and the least was 300 to 400 ringgit only got 14 votes. With the data that we got, first we have to find the class midpoint. Then we have to calculate the mean, sum up of the f(x)s and divide by the total of students. Then we got 554.64. Then calculate the median by searching the point of median, total of respondents divided by 2. After we use the formula for calculating the median, we get 45.8125. Most of the students spend their money on study by 82 ringgit 55 cent per month. Standard deviation that we got was 863.09932, and we squared the amount to get the variance by 744,940.43618.
Okay, for the next question is, how long do you usually study in a day when learning through virtual class? Okay, so for this time, I decided to use or draw an OGIF. Okay, so of course, first of all, you need a table, same goes as before. If you want to draw any chart, of course, you need a table. Okay, so for OGIF, you need a time span for only learning and also cumulative frequency. Okay, we're going to measure mean. Okay, so basically it's just same as before. Okay, so 14 plus 185 plus 304 plus 121 divide with 7 plus 37 plus 38 plus 11, and you will get 6.700967 for the mean. Okay, then for the median, okay, we need to find the position of median, which is 93 over 2 equals to 46.5. Okay, then as usual, we need to count for median. Okay, so for median, 6.5 plus 46.5 minus 44 over 38 times 3, and you will get 6.69773 for the median. So basically the formula is just same. So the solution for mode is 0.5 plus 1 over 28 times 3, and you will get 0.60714. So basically, most of the students spend their time on study only 0.60714 hours per day. Okay, so last but not least, we want to measure the dispersion. Okay, so for dispersion, we need to find the standard deviation first. So square root 1 over 93 minus 1 in bracket 4716 minus 492 square over 93, and you will get 26.41028. Okay, so for the variance, it is 26.41028 square. The answer will get 697.5028897. So that's it for my part. Thank you.
In conclusion, we are conducting some research about preference students toward normal class or virtual class in UiTM Machang has just been established since the COVID-19 is getting worse. This may have an impact on all students at UiTM and other universities. Students and lecturers can communicate with each other through numerous channels such as email, online chat, and video conferencing in lab virtual learning. There is just one way for students to communicate in the classroom. Lastly, we can conclude that from the students' result of our research on this assignment, virtual classes were shown to be equivalent to that normal class. It is because some students have their own problems, such as when they are at a campus, the cost of living there is higher than at home. And also, when they are at home, it becomes difficult for them to do their assignment work. With that being said, thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.